Welcome to Pet Pals. I'm Dee Dee, and this is Randy, and we're here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue. And every week we bring you some adoptable animals from your local shelter in hopes that we will make some matches. And our first guest is Carmen. Carmen is a medium-haired cat, tortoiseshell in color with a little bit of white accent. She has very beautiful eyes. I'm not sure if you can see them perfectly well on camera, but they're green in the center and gold on the outside, so it makes her very striking looking. She's 2 years old, and she came to us with a baby kitten. Oh, Caramel. So we do have a Carmen here. That's a black and white kitten. So Randy's keeping watch over me, making sure I don't give you bad information. Her name is Caramel. And she came with one kitten and was in our foster care program. And the foster mom wrote a nice story about her temperament and what she likes and what she's used to. And Randy said when he went to get her from her cage this morning, she was a little reluctant to come out. And that's all part of working in the animal shelter. A lot of times people will say, I don't want to go to the animal shelter because I don't want to see cats in cages. It's very sad to me. And while that is absolutely understandable that it's sad to you, what is not always the case is it is not always sad for the cat. A cat that has been out in the elements, especially this winter, and then brought to a place where they are brought food and their litter box is changed and they're given toys and comfort, feel very secure in that little box, and sometimes they don't want to leave it without patience on the part of Randy. He's gentle and encouraging with them and convinces them everything's okay, then brings them up here, and then we open their carrier and basically they're on another planet. This room smells different, it sounds different, it is different, and they worry about what's going to happen next. So for a cat, it can be very reassuring to have your own hotel room with room service every day. You know what's going to happen and you know who's going to see you. And they feel very secure that way, and they don't necessarily want to change things when what they know is that there is this hotel with room service, or there is outside with weather and dogs chasing me and no one feeding me. Now, what they don't always know if they didn't come from a home is that there's even something better, which is living with a family dedicated to them individually and providing the same room service and maid service, but lots more space. So Caramel is ready for that experience. Since she's been in a foster home, she has seen it, she knows it exists, and she's going to be very happy to get there again. So if you think Caramel would make a good match for you or someone that you know, come by the shelter, let us know. Our next guest is Emerald. And Emerald is 6 months old, and she was found by somebody in the county who brought her into us. Of course, hoping that we would find her owner, but she is not yet spayed. We're going to take care of that for you. And she is shy of strangers. So we think that her mom might have been just a lost cat or a stray cat. And unfortunately, when cats have kittens and they don't have a base where they get food and shelter, when the kittens are 6 weeks old even, they tell them they're on their own. And so it is not uncommon for people to find kittens alone at a very young age. And this little girl is, very sweet. She's shaking a little bit, and Randy said her heart was beating very fast when she came in here. So one of the things that's hard for kittens that have been born outside and then found by someone is everything's new. You know, she hasn't been inside four walls, she hasn't been carried around by people. Now, obviously, she has since she arrived here, so she's learned a lot. But, you know, Randy takes a lot of patience in getting cats to accept this experience because it helps you to see them. You know, if you were to come into the shelter right now, we probably have 40 cats, and it's hard to choose. So you come into the shelter and you think, oh, do I want a kitten? Do I want an adult? Should I get a girl? Should I get a boy? And so having had them on the TV show where you can see them interacting in a new situation, you get an idea of the range of their behaviors and their needs. And that way you can tell if a kitten or a cat's going to be a good match for you. This one seems not only to be a little bit shy, but also pretty active. She would like to run around in this room, which at 6 months old, probably a lot of cats would. So she might be a cat that would be fine with someone who worked all day. She seems a little independent, and she needs to have someone she can trust and a place where she'll be safe. She won't have to worry about food anymore. She won't have to worry about the weather, and she'll blossom in that situation. So we definitely want that for her. If you think she would make a good match for you, then come meet her. Our next guest is Shadow, and Shadow is a gray tabby. He's a big boy, and he is 7 years old, and he came to the shelter because his family lost their home. And a lot of times when we post on Facebook that somebody gave up their pet because they were moving, we get some comments, and rightly so, that said people should not move without planning for every member of the family, and that includes their pets. Most of the people who follow our Facebook page cannot imagine moving and leaving a pet behind. But a lot of times when someone comes to our shelter and tells us that they're moving, what they mean is that they're moving in with family who already has pets because they're losing their home, and it's a completely different situation. They don't want to do it, but they will essentially be homeless if they don't comply with the wishes of the people willing to take them in, which includes we just can't take on any more animals. So this is the situation for, you know, poor little Shadow, poor big Shadow. And Shadow is a friendly cat with lots of family experience. One of the things people often ask us with cats is he litter trained or is she litter trained? All of the cats that come through the shelter are litter trained. And the reason I say that is for two reasons. Number one, we usually ask them to use a cardboard litter box with wood pellets in it, which cats do not prefer. So if a cat uses that, a cat is trained. In some cases, cats don't feel comfortable with that, so we give them a bigger litter pan with clay litter, and as long as they use that, we put them up for adoption. We share any information about their litter habits with you. The second reason I say that they're litter trained is because it's a completely different thing than house training a dog. So you can teach a dog to have a preference for a certain substance on which they eliminate, and it should be grass because that makes house training easy. But for cats, they really want to dig a hole before they eliminate so they can cover it up. So it's very easy to offer that to a cat. It needs to be deep enough, big enough, clean enough, secluded enough, but not frightening in any way, and the cat's going to use it. So Shadow has, you know, a 7-year history of being a good boy, so that's great. But we do get cats in the shelter that the owners have said they had problems with. And in that case, we will give you a lot of information about how to fix it. And what is important for you when you're choosing a cat is to look at the profile of the cat that you're interested in and check that history, because we ask people who give up their cats lots of questions, and if we have any concerns in the shelter, then we're going to share those with you. Our next guest is Doc, and Doc came to us from a farm where he lived for at least a year, and we think he's between 1 and 2 years old, so he was probably born there. And as you can see, he has the big head of a mature male cat. And a lot of people know that mature male cats are prone to being confident, affectionate, and very social, and Doc fits that to a T. We color code our cats here for personality, and we use 3 color designations, blue, orange, and green, and Doc is considered blue, and that is a snuggly, affectionate, confident lap cat. And I really like this cat. Not that I care very much for all the animals that come through the shelter, but There are animals that stand out to us as caretakers as having such great pet potential. And Doc is one of those cats. He genuinely likes people, and he has had great past experience with other animals, taking care of himself, making good decisions. Obviously, the person that he made himself known to on the farm was the right person for him to befriend to get him here so he could get shots and be neutered and have a future as a pet, which he is definitely suited for. He's also really handsome. So if you think that Doc would make a good match for you or someone that you know, we chose his name. He's not going to care if you change it, but I really think it fits him. He's such a good boy. And, you know, there are dogs and cats that they're all domesticated, but there are dogs and cats that just seem to be born with an affinity for people. And those animals make just wonderful family companions because they, like us, they love people, we love dogs and cats, and it's just the greatest match. And many dogs and cats learn to live with people, or they like certain people, but there are those that are just born with, he thinks humans are wonderful, and he wants one of his own. So if you think that you could be Doc's person, or if you have a family, that would be even better, because I think he would love to have a whole collection of humans. Our next guest is Patches, and Patches, as you can plainly see, is a black and white kitty. He is a year old, he's already been neutered, and he's already lived in a family. So he is one of those kitties that while he's at the shelter thinks it's the boarding kennel or the vet, and he would definitely like to move back into a household with a family of his own. Patches is quite young, and if you think he's beautiful, as I do, we happen to have a 6-month-old kitten named Carmen, who I almost called Caramel Carmen, who looks very much like him but is still a baby kitten. So if you know you want a baby kitten, we are starting to get them in. More common for them to come in spring and summer and fall than in the winter. But let's get back to Patches. So Patches has experience in a family, and the reason he came here is that someone in his family developed allergies to him. And it's not uncommon for people to be allergic to cats. It's mostly common in people who didn't grow up around animals. And I am not a doctor, but the way allergies work is that when you inhale proteins like the skin cells of a cat that are stuck to their hair when they shed, your body treats them like a cold germ or a flu germ. And so your body reacts as if they're dangerous in some way, even though they're not. And what doctors say is that children who grow up around pets are less likely to have that problem as adults because their body already knows that these are some proteins in the environment that you don't have to fight. The reason I say that is because if you have considered getting a cat, it's a great thing to do for your kids' immune health, because whatever's introduced to their environment when they're young becomes something that their body doesn't have to fight off. Now, obviously, if you have asthma and it's exacerbated by allergies, or if you already have allergies, especially to cats, it's just not worth it to invite into your environment something that's going to make you feel unwell. But there are a lot of concerns that people have about cats being in particular allergenic, and that's not true. Your body is allergic to whatever it decides is unusual, and cats are no more likely than anything else to cause it. So that is the reason he was given up, is that someone in his family was allergic, and feeling sick all the time, as much as you love your pets, is sometimes not a smart decision, no matter how much you wish that you could have a cat. So we are going to be back after a short break with some more adoptable animals. And if you have seen a cat today that you like, please come to 1832 Rosemont and meet all of our cats and see if we can make a match. If you are not interested in a cat, then stay tuned. We'll be right back with more.
If you're looking for an incredible experience, meet a shelter pet and adopt. They make super pets who will enrich your life and steal your heart. Adopt and bring home a shelter pet today. To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
We are back with some more adoptable pets at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center on Rosemont Avenue. Now, you would think that this little girl would have no trouble getting adopted. But if you watched our show last week, we have a black pit bull mixed puppy named Tiger Lily. She is still here. That means that we are having trouble adopting out our bully breed puppies. Now, one of the reasons might be because they get big. One of the reasons might be because some landlords don't allow them. But I think the reason is because we've had a lot of other dogs here that are not going to get that big. We've had a lot of small and mixed breed puppies like Nunu and Patches. And so they're getting chosen by the people who want puppies. Now, this particular puppy came from West Virginia Puppies, which is a pet store over the state line. And she is an American Bulldog, so she is not a pit bull at all, although she's still a bully breed, and that makes her big and strong. And look at that cute tail. But the reason that she was given up to us is even though the people went to a pet store and bought her on purpose, they have a 6-month-old baby at home, as well as another kid, as well as a big boxer. And they said that this puppy was just unmanageable for them. She persistently jumped on the baby, 6-month-old baby. She would jump on the bassinet. She would bark in their face consistently and not stop barking until they gave her what she wanted. They couldn't crate train her because they put her in the crate and she would bark, 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 bark. And what I would say to that story is you did the right thing, not taking on a puppy, because all of that is hard. But what I would also say is there's just nothing abnormal about that. And that's the reason a lot of people fail with taking a puppy home. Is that, I don't know if you've ever raised a child, but when they're 2, they do not give in until you give in, unless you are stronger than them. So what Lola needs is someone who's stronger than her. And I don't mean physically stronger, because that's not hard. She's little right now. I mean psychologically stronger. So she is going to, unfortunately, she has spent the last few weeks learning not to give in. Learning if you bark, 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 they will give you what you want. So she needs someone who has the fortitude to say, that lesson you learned about if you persist, you'll get what you want was false. So especially for a bulldog, because bulldogs are meant to be brave. They're meant to be confident. They're meant to give their life for yours. And so they are stalwart and loyal and persistent. So as you can see, Randy's had her up here for a couple minutes. She hasn't barked once. He has pretty much given her everything she wanted, so that certainly does help. But we are interested in finding her a home with someone who has bully breed experience and really important puppy experience, because she's going to take what she wants, and she's going to need somebody who says, I will give you everything as long as you are polite, and she can do it. Our next guest is Patrick. And Patrick is 7 months old, and he is Beagle and maybe Dachshund. And he came to us as a stray, so we don't know his history. He is trying to get all the pepperonis out of Randy's pocket. And he is, so that's the Beagle in him, is driven by his nose. He's a beautiful little dog, and he is active, confident, using his nose amazingly well. But he was a little shy when he first came in. A little nervous about the camera and lots of strangers standing around. So at his age, that is going to be easy to balance with some training. He wants down now. And he is going to be able to learn about the world in a great way and not be so shy. But it's something that people talk about all the time, and we call it puppy socialization, but really all it means is experience. You want to make sure that your puppy has a lot of positive experiences with new situations that you control. So the mistake that people make is they take their puppy everywhere, and all the puppy has to have is 2 or 3 traumatic experiences where like Carts in PetSmart almost runs over him, or a big dog in town jumps out and scares him. And those will set your puppy back. It's better to not take your puppy out than take him out and have scary experiences. But the ideal is that you take them places that you control, like go to a friend's house that has a really friendly uncle dog that loves puppies, or go to the PetSmart parking lot and watch dogs go in and out from the safety of your car. What you want to convince your puppy is that new things turn out good most of the time. And then you will have a puppy that looks at the world as a positive place, a place he wants to be and explore. So since this little guy was stray, he probably did have some scary things happen to him. So it's going to take his owner to build trust with him and then slowly, gradually take him places where everything turns out good and he'll be fine. He also likes to eat food even when he's scared, which means he's going to be really easy to train. When you have a young dog, you only have a few months to do it. And a lot of times that's where people fall down, is that they think, I'll get a puppy and he'll grow up and we'll be wonderful friends forever. But what happens is if you don't do the work when the puppy is between 12 weeks old and a year old, then you missed the window, and then you end up with an adult dog that's shy around strangers, and that's not a problem. You can certainly manage that, but why not prevent it by doing that work in that 6-month window that you get and change the world for your dog. We are back with Buddy, and Buddy is part black-mouthed cur. He's a very cute dog with little white on his nose, so I suspect he's a mixed breed. And he's 4 years old. And his family gave him up because they're losing their home. So they can't keep him. And Buddy is a good boy. We are going to neuter him for you, microchip him for you, start him on his shots. He wants to go behind the partition for some reason. When they dropped him off, he's been with his same family for 4 years. So as far as he's concerned, he would certainly like to go back home. And the fact that he's willing to eat a treat with strangers means he's feeling comfortable enough. And this is as big as he's going to get. And he is used to a family full of people. And if you don't know much about black-mouthed curs, I would definitely check them out on the internet, because it's like the ultimate farm dog. They are raised to do both herding work, retrieving work, play with the kids, all kinds of things. So it's a really, I don't know if you've ever heard people they're called yeller dogs. They're just not, I guess you could say that they're not a purebred because they don't have a registry and they're not strict about breeding. But the idea is to get a family pet that can do guard work and farm work and obedience work, whatever it is you want it to be. So it's an all-around dog. So if you are interested, he wants more pepperoni, in Buddy, then please come by and meet him, because it is a challenge for us to find homes for adult dogs. Not if they're poodles, not if they're purebreds of some stature, like Jack Russell Terriers. We had this little broken coat Jack Russell Terrier, Patches, everybody wanted. But for us to find homes for medium-sized, medium-colored, medium-aged dogs is hard, because there's nothing about them that is special on your initial appearance. You have to meet them and see their specialness by taking them out and being with them. We are back with Max, and Max is part Jack Russell Terrier. He looks right now like an Irish Terrier, but that's because you can't see how short his legs are. And he has a wire coat and is 1 year old. So he is going to need somebody with patience for his activity level, although he's not anything abnormal. He's just busy and smart, and he's going to need someone to teach him the way to be. The reason he was given up, people had him for only 3 months, and they had another dog, and they said that the interactions between the dogs weren't what they wanted and hoped for. So they don't want to keep him. And one of the things that I noticed this week when I was making the list of dogs for you to view was that a lot of the dogs in this batch have only been in their home, not including Buddy, who was in the same home for 4 years. But a lot of the dogs haven't been in their home very long. And one of the things that happens when you adopt from us is that we'll sit down with you and talk to you and try to explain to you that you're gonna have to make at least a 30-day commitment to the introduction of a new dog to your household. Now, the reason I say that is because I have 2 dogs at home. I have a cat and a bird. And when I get a new pet, there's definitely an acclimation period where they have to learn about each other. You have to supervise where they go in the house and what they do. You have to make sure that their interactions are healthy and balanced. And this not only takes a lot of time on your part supervision-wise, but it takes a lot of time in days. Max is a perfectly normal, wonderful 1-year-old puppy. As you can see, he's not hyper. He's interested in being handled by Randy. He's taken treats. So he has everything going for him, but he's 1. So you're gonna have to be willing to have a lot of rules that he can understand and gradually reduce them as he becomes a part of your family, as he is destined to be. We are back with Louie, and Louie is a handful, and he's a puppy, and he is part pit, part setter probably, and loves people. He is only 8 months old, so we're gonna take 4 applications and find the best match for him. He is a lovely dog, but this is the typical reason that people fail at keeping a puppy. The reason Louie is here is because the owners did not get their landlord permission before they brought him home. And actually, I should say, it's not really fair. So the son of the owners adopted Louie, dropped him off at his dad's, and the dad's landlord said, no, not having a big dog, not having a puppy. So it is a frustration that people often have when they rent, that a perfectly good dog can't be part of their family if the landlord says no. But Louie hasn't been trained to do very much. So, and certainly he likes treats, he likes Randy, he likes to do stuff. So it isn't going to be hard to show him that if he does what Randy asks, then he can have what he wants. But it is a challenge to get over that hump, because right now, Louie thinks he can have what he wants by taking it. And I will tell you something that was a really, really sad moment for Louie. When his owner dropped him off, and I went to take him back to the kennel, he was able to leap the height of the gate that would get him back to his owner. So he definitely wanted to go with the daddy that he knows. So the reason I tell you that is not to make you sad, even though it certainly might. It is to tell you how much he already cared about the man that was taking care of him. And sometimes people say, well, is that going to make it harder for him to attach to a new person? And the truth is actually the opposite. A dog who easily attaches to his person and becomes very loyal and wants to be with that person usually does that over and over with every new person. So he definitely wants a person of his own.
Good sit.
Oh, good boy, Louie. And he is looking for that. So if you think that Louie would make a good match for you, or someone that you know what to do. Go to petfinder.com, find his profile, share it someplace new, or on your social networking sites, or take the link at the bottom of your screen for this episode of Pet Pals and share that so people can see all that he has to give. And maybe we're going to find the perfect match for him as well. And then don't forget all the animals that you've seen today. They all need homes, and as you well know, we do not have all of the animals in the shelter on the TV show, or it would, be a 4-hour marathon. So thanks for joining us, and I hope we see you next time on Pet Pals. I think Randy probably has to go home and take a nap now.